One might wonder why Arabs never united. A king from Persia once wrote to his Arabian vassal asking, "Why can't you guys just pick a leader and stick with him?" The vassal thought for a moment. While other nations yield power to a single family out of fear and frailty, he answered, among Arabs, each desires his own kin to hold the reins of rule. In short, each tribe saw themselves as the best, and none wanted to bow down to another. So while empires rose and fell around them, Arabia remained a land of independent tribes. But why didn't these powerful empires just conquer the desert dwellers? The motivation was there. Arabian tribes were sitting on one of the most important trade routes between the Eastern world and the West. Trade ships loaded with silken spice sailed from China and India, docked in Yemeni and Arabian ports in the Red Sea, then were transported overland to Syria and Roman territories. So controlling the Arabian Peninsula wasn't a bad idea, and it's not like no one was tempted. But the disadvantages outweighed the advantages. Part of it was the harsh environment. Remember, the desert isn't exactly a vacation spot. It's hot, sandy, and there's not much loot to be found. But the bigger reason was the nomadic lifestyle. There was no ruling these nomads who put freedom above anything else, including comfort. They resisted anything that could compromise their traditions and way of life. And under no circumstances would they answer to any other tribe whom they deemed beneath them. So what was the point? Take the Macedonian general, Antigonus, who'd already taken over Phoenicia and Syria after Alexander's death. He tried to conquer Arabia by first taking a city called Petra in southern Jordan, thinking it would be a cakewalk. But the nomads weren't exactly pushovers. They fought back fiercely, and Antigonus's army got pummeled and had to retreat. The next time he sent his son Demetrius with a bigger army. Here's what the Nabatean negotiators basically told him. "O mighty commander, why do you wage war against us? We dwell in an empty desert, nothing but cactus and camel pits here, utterly devoid of life's luxuries and comforts. We chose this barren wasteland to avoid servitude. So we advise you to take these souvenirs, gather your troops and go home, and then we will become like your best friends. But keep this up and you will soon face countless troubles. You may beat us, but you can never force us to abandon the life we've known since birth. And should you capture any of us, we will act like total bitches to you until the day we die." And guess what? Demetrius listened. He knew a long, frustrating war when he saw one. These nomads weren't worth the trouble. So yeah, the desert tribes may not have built grand empires, but they sure knew how to scare them away. Even the mightiest empires thought twice before messing with these fierce people. So now you might think being a tribesman was all about raiding and pillaging and doing whatever you wanted. Well, yes, but there was a flip side to this life. A code of honor that demanded certain things from these nomads. First up, bravery. You had to be a fearless fighter, ready to defend your family and tribe no matter what. Then there was hospitality. Nomads were known for being super welcoming to strangers. Whether rich or poor, they'd open their tents to travelers, taking refugees fleeing punishment and exile, and offer them food and shelter, even if it meant giving up their only sources of income to prepare food for them. Some, like Hatim al-Tai, became legendary for their kindness. This 6th century sheikh was practically a walking charity, always looking out for those in need. Poets sang his praises, and his story became widely known. He is still the symbol of generosity in Islamic cultures. Keeping your word was also a big deal. A promise made was a promise kept, even if it meant risking your life, as Samuel did. Another sheikh with some serious backbone. A guy entrusted him with some valuable belongings, then died without saying what to do with them. When the dead guy's tribe came demanding their inheritance, Samuel refused to budge. They even kidnapped his son, but Samuel wouldn't be intimidated. Faced with such fierce determination, the tribe eventually backed down. He kept the stuff until the dead guy's son showed up. So what gives? While these virtues were great and all, they say there are no selfless good deeds. And they would be right in this case. It's very simple, really. One main reason was getting the bragging rights. Imagine you were a tribesman and spotted a drifter. You would suddenly jump up, invite him to your house or tent, host, feed, and entertain him with all you have for 10 days and send him on his way. Now, if a poet were to incidentally, out of nowhere, completely unbeknownst to you, witness this generosity and hospitality and praise you in his poems, there was no harm in that. It was a win-win situation. Apart from that, hospitality was like a desert insurance policy. You take care of travelers, and they'll take care of you down the line. And keeping your word, that meant other tribes and even nations would be more likely to trust you, leading to sweet trade deals and alliances. So yeah, these nomads had their own code of honor. It was a world of fierce loyalty, legendary generosity, and the knowledge that a good deed today could mean a helping hand tomorrow. But the most important quality that they had to have was, of course, prejudice toward their family, their sheikh, and their tribe. Blood was always thicker in the desert. That was the core of nomadic life. Tribesmen looked out for each other, no questions asked. Got in a fight with another tribe, your tribe had your back, guilty or not. There were no fancy courtrooms or judges out here. Your tribe was your law. Now, there weren't exactly written rules everyone followed. Each tribe had its own way of doing things. But this whole support your own thing kept things in check. It was kind of a warning to outsiders. Mess with one of us, mess with all of us. If you committed crimes within the tribe, things could get harsh.
Stop right there, criminal
What do you guess was the worst punishment? Execution? Torture? Nah. It was disownment and exile. But that can't be true, could it? For such a violent bunch of people to act so liberal and just kick the criminal out without a scratch on him? Well, you'd be glad to know that the worst had yet to come. Exile was a recipe for nightmare in the desert. It meant you and your family would be left alone in the desert. With no tribe, no identity, no means to fend for yourself, and no protection. This kept everyone on their toes, but it didn't stop them from making trouble between tribes. That's where another familiar concept comes in. Revenge. In the desert, revenge wasn't just a dish best served cold. It was the main course. So picture this, the harsh desert sun, a tense standoff between two tribes. Someone's been murdered and things are about to get bloody. Forget fancy courtrooms and judges. In the desert, justice was a do-it-yourself affair. Unlike modern societies where the state doles out punishment, tribes were like judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one. There was no law to determine the guilty and the severity of the punishment. Only what the victim's tribe wanted. And it was simply like this: an eye for an eye. Whose eye, though, didn't matter. So let's say a guy from tribe A gets murdered by someone from tribe B. In this situation, the victim's family was traditionally expected to go into two modes, one after the other. First, full-blown mourning mode. Think hair ripping, face scratching, dirt bathing levels of grief. And it wasn't just for show. They couldn't eat meat, drink wine, have fun with women, basically life on hold until revenge mode was activated. The pressure was on. Get revenge quickly or look like a bunch of weaklings. Now the first step, ask tribe B to hand over the killer, knowing very well that they would definitely refuse. Nobody likes giving up their own people, even if they're guilty. So, what was the peaceful option? Blood money. Basically, tribe B could pay the victim's family from tribe A a hefty sum to make things right. Prices varied depending on the victim's social status. Camels were the desert currency, so for a regular dude, it could be around 100 camels. But for a sheikh, 1,000 camels. Could one nomad family afford even 100 camels? Most likely not. That's why all tribe members had to chip in, and the sheikh was expected to personally undertake to pay a chunk of the money as well. But you know what? Neither tribe A nor tribe B would really go for this option either. Tribe A, because it was a disgrace to accept blood money and watch your kin's murderer walk away. Tribe B, because it was a lot of camels for one lousy guy. That's why most tribes opted out of blood money. It was seen as a slap in the face. Blood washes blood, as they like to say. So with both options off the table and all the formalities done properly, they went for the thing they had intended in the first place, a whole heaping helping of revenge. The victim's family would go after the killer, guns blazing, sword swinging. If they got him, good. If not, they just kill someone else from the same tribe and come back. And that was enough, because the only thing that mattered was taking out one bee belonging to the enemy hive. Didn't matter which one. Now maybe you can understand how entwined tribesmen were with their tribe. Anyway, it didn't end here, because now someone from tribe B has been murdered, and all those traditions and regulations had to be applied again. It wasn't exactly a recipe for peace. If the tribes couldn't agree on punishment or blood money, things escalated quickly.